The Sixers slapped the Nets silly. But we wake up this Monday feeling the Mondays. And Noah Vonleh is coming on in. Let's talk about Noah. Oogie boogie, New York cities. It is I, at Eve Darbooz, gonna be your conductor as we get on this thing that we call the Front Office Podcast. My guy Sam is off. He's trying to be a lawyer, but I'm trying to, do my podcast thing. So, I'm not going to impede my partner as he goes forth on his endeavors to become an advocate for the people, or a corporate lawyer that just makes ungodly amounts of money. I salute Sam. I salute my partner. Nonetheless, we've got some things to talk about. No pod after the last game. The last game just basically made me feel like, what are we doing right now? The obvious is obvious. Nobody's not, being realistic in terms of understanding that the supporting cast of the Nets add nothing to fixing their problems. The additions: Norvell Pell, kid from the islands. I want to say St. Croix or Lucia Martin. One of them. Was it Aruba? I don't know. He, unlike Tim Duncan, who found basketball, when he was a little older, picking it up, I think around 12, 13, he was a swimmer. He's over training, to be a professional, an Olympic athlete. And they discovered this kid, Tim Duncan, was nice. Norvell Pell is a freakish athlete. He's tall, he's got long arms, he do his thing, but you could tell he doesn't know much about basketball. His basketball instincts leave much to be desired. And I look at it like, you could use him, but in very specific moments. Like he'll run the floor, he'll run and jump and dunk, and we haven't seen him enough. He hasn't settled. He's been hyped, to be getting another shot at the NBA. I get all that. So we're going to give Norvell Pell time. But today we want to talk about the guy we signed in Noah Vonleh. Noah Vonleh is a guy that I've been looking at for years. Shout out to my guy on Twitter, Junebug. He's the homie. And he's been saying, Vonleh would be all right for us. And I've always was like, yeah, you know what? Vonleh would be good. Vonleh would be better than everything that we have right now. That always was my response. I always was like, yep, Vonleh wouldn't be a bad signing. Why not pick up Vonleh? Sean Marks was a question that I pondered many times. And you want to know, it's the funny thing about Vonleh. The funny thing about Vonleh is I kind of was cool on Vonleh because my son met Noah Vonleh in basketball camp and had a huge impression on him. Like, legit, like, he was nice. He showed me how to do this and do that. But of course, when little kids are in a camp with really big kids who hoop, high school kids, to be clear, he's had some challenges. He's had some issues because they tell him crazy things like Noah Vonleh sucks. Now, if you look at Noah Vonleh's numbers, there's no question this is not a good basketball player. But what he is he's a legit 4, right? Jeff Green, you get 2 to 3 rebounds a night, 3.7 a game statistically, right? But that's how you know Jeff Green is not really a power forward. And we love Jeff Green. No Jeff Green slander. Jeff Green is the veteran big, or the vet, locker room vet we've all been needing, even though I don't seem to think Jeff Green is really like all that locker room vet-ish, right? He's not, doesn't give off Yoda-like vibes, like, and he doesn't try to wear that either. He says it, but it's not like he's sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm the locker room Yoda," you know. But what are we getting with Noah Vonleh? We're gonna get a kid who's gonna rebound. He's not gonna score a lot. His last stint in Denver and Minnesota, he didn't get much of a shot. But with the Knicks, he had his best time. He couldn't buy a free throw to save his life the year before in Chicago, which I guess is the reason why they jettisoned him. But he improved. You know, he's a decent free throw shooter. He could get off a 3-pointer. He shoots them. Doesn't shoot them necessarily well. And there's a reason why he's been on the sidelines. It's because he's not that dynamic of a player. But here's what he is, right? He's a player that came out of college really young, 19. He seems older than what he is because he's been on so many damn teams. And, you know, Chicago, Portland, Charlotte, the Knicks, of course, Minnesota, and Denver. And all those last 2 stops, there wasn't much of a chance for him to get an opportunity. They had those positions filled with better players. And my whole thing with him is, why not? He fits. He's the right size. Again, we just had a game where statistically it's just ugly what happened to us, and it's redundant. It's every single time, every single game that we lose. The other team gets 62 points in the paint. We only get 32. They get 22 offensive rebounds. We only get 9. And this showed, you know, why it hurts to not have Kyrie. Because Kyrie, I think he takes off and runs fast breaks, and he's somewhat of a one-man fast break. When he doesn't play, we lose out in the fast break side, even though we don't even have really good fast break finishers right now. The team is a little bit, as I've been saying, lopsided, and having a guy like Vonleh, who I think in our system, in our program, which is not going to happen over in the span of from now to the playoffs, but we'll do just enough to make him better. And there's no pressure. You're on the Nets. You're here to just basically be a traffic cone and impede these bigs. I mean, the other night, I wouldn't call it that Joel Embiid was dominant, because it didn't feel like Joel Embiid was having a dominant game. Even though in the fourth quarter it was just like, you know, the Nets were done. You know, the Nets had nothing left. The 33 that Embiid got, he shot 1 for 7 from 3. Right? He just punished us on the inside. And that's the ball game. We have one of the things I hate about Nets Twitter, and I know that a lot of you guys don't agree with me, but you guys want to be the biggest cheerleaders for whoever's on our side. And that's the way, a part of me says that's the way we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be the biggest cheerleaders for the people who represent our organization. I agree with that. But what I don't agree with is this concept that you can't say anything bad about the people, we appreciate. We all appreciate Sean Marks. But it's not a lie to say Sean Marks has signed and drafted and traded for horrible power forwards. It's clear he doesn't believe in having competent big men that play defense. And that is not just for this year. It's for across his entire Nets reign. And we're all there. We're like, before it used to be an argument, before it used to be a back and forth on Twitter. Like, yeah, we don't need those type of players. We don't play that type of ball. We just need, floor spacers and we're good. And then the next thing after that snapped out and we started getting superstars on the team. Everyone was like, yeah, Kevin Durant is going to play power forward for us. Now I think we've all kind of snapped out of that delusion. Now I think we're starting to understand as a fan base, we need big players. And that's why Vonleh, although, sometimes in my brain I think he's Portis, Bobby Portis. He's not. He's Noah Vonleh. And he's not a world beater. But we're so starving, right? We're such the guys that is hungry. It's like this one time I was traveling, and I basically was in airports, planes, and airports again and again for 24 hours. I got off that plane, I was starving. And when I got off that plane, I ate McDonald's. McDonald's for me, and I don't knock anyone who likes it, but if I eat McDonald's, it's always out of convenience. It's always out of, here's a drive-through, pretend like the kids did something good to deserve it, and throw it in the back seat and hope, you don't kill one of the kids by feeding them it. McDonald's is not good to me. But that day, I was so hungry, and I think I didn't eat for much longer because I literally woke up, didn't eat breakfast, didn't eat anything, just ran to the airport, and I traveled for 24 hours. When I got off the plane and I had that McDonald's, right, it tasted delicious. Vonleh is a slab of quarter pounder meat. Have you ever looked at, forget quarter pounder meat's bad, Big Mac meat? It's skimpy. That's the way his stats look. His stats look skimpy. They don't look very, delectable. Is it nice that he shoots over 500 from 2-point percentage? I guess when he's close, he makes it. But I'm worried, man. I'm worried. Some things worry about me is just that one is not only that he's not that good, but he's played center in recent years. He played backup center for Minnesota and Denver. I pray to God that's not what Sean Marks has for his a plan for Noah Vonleh. Nets fans, don't be that guy that's on Twitter defending Sean Marks. Sean Marks has not delivered to you more, right? Because what we measure, if we're being objective, we don't measure a GM's success by the players he signs, right? A lot of GMs sign really good players. But you have to judge this man by wins. And so far, the best that we've done is 46 wins. I don't know what we're going to do this year, how we're going to finish this year. Are we going to go on a run? Or are we going to keep going through this nonsense of losing to teams that aren't as good as us? And then I'm glad Philly smacked us because it just reminded us how far we are and how bad of a supporting cast that we have post Harden trade. The question will always be when you judge this era is, did you improve on what Billy King did? Billy King got to the second round. He won a playoff series. We beat Toronto with Ujiri talking shit.